Hello and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're taking a closer look at a familiar coin that might just be hiding in your change jar or tucked away in an old collection, the 1981 Jefferson nickel with the Philadelphia Mint mark. While at first glance it may seem like just another 5-cent coin, there are important details about this particular year and mint mark that could make your coin more interesting or even more valuable than you might expect. We'll walk through the history of the Jefferson nickel, how to identify a 1981 nickel from the Philadelphia Mint, what details to look for to determine if yours is valuable, and how much these coins are worth in today's market. So, if you enjoy learning about American coins and the stories they carry, stay with us until the end. The Jefferson nickel has been part of U.S. coinage since 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel. It features the profile of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States, on the obverse or front side of the coin. The design was created by Felix Schlag, whose initials were not added to the coin until 1966. The reverse side features Jefferson's famous home, Monticello, a neoclassical mansion located in Virginia. This design remained largely unchanged until 2004, when the Mint introduced temporary new designs before returning to a revised version of the original Monticello in 2006. The year 1981 was part of the last few years before major changes occurred in the Jefferson nickel series. In 1982, the U.S. Mint began using a new font and changing the appearance of the Mint mark. And by 2004, design changes reflected new interest in historical themes. That makes 1981 one of the final years of the classic style of Jefferson nickels before the transition. The 1981 Jefferson nickel with the P Mint mark was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. This was a relatively high mintage coin, meaning a large number were made for circulation. Over 500 million of these nickels were struck in Philadelphia that year. To identify this specific coin, look at the obverse side, that's the front with Jefferson's portrait. Just to the right of his image, near the edge of the coin and above his shoulder, you'll see a small letter, P. This is the mint mark indicating it was made in Philadelphia. The coin is made of a composition known as cupronickel, 75% copper and 25% nickel, and it weighs 5 grams. It has a plain, smooth edge with no lettering. Even though millions of these coins were produced, certain versions of the 1981 Jefferson nickel can still hold collector value, especially in high grades or with specific minting errors. Now, let's talk about what to look for if you're hoping your 1981 P. Jefferson nickel might be worth more than 5 cents. Coins in worn condition that have circulated heavily are generally only worth face value. But coins that have never been used in commerce, called uncirculated or mint state coins, are a different story. Collectors are often willing to pay a premium for coins that are graded MS-65 or higher. These are coins that have no wear, strong luster, and sharp details. One important feature collectors look for on Jefferson nickels is called full steps. This refers to the steps on Monticello, on the reverse side of the coin. If all 5 or 6 steps are clearly visible without any interruptions or flattening, the coin may receive the full steps designation from a grading service. Coins with full steps are scarcer and often more valuable. Sometimes mistakes happen at the mint, and coins with these errors can be highly collectible. For the 1981 P. Jefferson nickel, watch for off-center strikes, where the design is shifted to one side. Double dies, especially on the lettering or date-clipped planchets, where a piece of the coin is missing due to a miscut. Die cracks or cuds, which are raised areas caused by damage to the die. These kinds of errors can significantly raise the coin's value, depending on their severity and rarity. As of now, a standard 1981 P. Jefferson nickel in circulated condition is generally worth just 5 cents. However, in uncirculated condition, prices begin to rise. A coin graded MS-65 might be worth between $3 and $8, depending on appeal and demand. Coins graded MS-66 or higher, especially with full steps, can fetch between $20 and $50, or even more in some cases. For example, a 1981 P. Jefferson nickel graded MS-67 with full steps has been known to sell at auction for over $200, although such coins are rare and must be professionally graded. Coins with prominent mint errors can vary widely in value. A noticeable off-center strike or dramatic double die could sell for anywhere from $20 to several $100s, depending on the nature of the error. To sum it up, the 1981 Jefferson nickel with the Philadelphia Mint mark is a common coin in circulation, but certain examples can hold real value. Whether it's a high-grade mint state coin, one with the full steps designation, or a rare mint error, it's worth checking your pocket change or old coin jars for these hidden gems. If you come across a 1981 P nickel that looks especially sharp, or you think it may have an error, consider having it evaluated by a professional coin grading service. You never know, a small 5-cent coin might just bring a nice surprise. Today, we're going to take a closer look at the 1989 Jefferson nickel, specifically the version with the Denver Mint mark, also known as the 1989 D. Jefferson 5-cent coin. If you're a collector, a hobbyist, or simply someone who enjoys learning about coins from your pocket change, this video will give you a clear and informative overview. We'll talk about the coin's historical background, how to identify the more valuable pieces, and what they are worth in today's market. So, sit back, relax, and let's explore the story behind this interesting nickel. The Jefferson nickel has been a part of American coinage since 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel. The obverse features a left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States, while the reverse shows his famous Virginia home, Monticello. By 1989, the Jefferson nickel had already been in circulation for over 50 years. That year, the United States Mint produced nickels at both the Philadelphia and Denver facilities. The Denver Mint coins bear the D Mint mark, which can be found just to the right of Jefferson's portrait, near the rim. The year 1989 didn't bring any major design changes to the Jefferson nickel, but these coins still hold interest for collectors due to variations in quality and the potential for rare errors. Now, let's talk about what makes some 1989 D Jefferson nickels worth more than face value. Mint mark and location. First, make sure you are looking at a 1989 nickel with a clear D Mint mark. This indicates it was struck at the Denver Mint. Condition. Grading matters. Coins in higher grades are always more desirable. A well-circulated 1989 D nickel will usually be worth only its face value. But if you find one in uncirculated condition, especially one graded MS65 or higher by a professional grading service, the value increases. Look for sharp details on Jefferson's face, clean fields, and minimal scratches. Full steps variety. One of the most important features to look for in valuable Jefferson nickels is the full steps designation. This refers to the steps on Monticello, located on the reverse side of the coin. If all 5 or 6 steps are fully visible and separated, the coin may qualify for this distinction. A full steps 1989 D Jefferson nickel in mint state can be worth significantly more. Error coins. Another category to watch for is mint errors. Though not extremely common for the 1989 D, there are some reports of off-center strikes, die cracks, or planchet errors. These kinds of mistakes can make a coin unique and raise its value depending on severity and visibility. Let's now look at the market value of the 1989 D Jefferson nickel. Circulated condition. Most coins found in pocket change or circulation are only worth 5 cents. Uncirculated condition. MS60 to MS64. These can sell for about 25 cents to a few dollars depending on the quality. High mint state grades. MS65 to MS67 coins in this condition can be worth between $5 and $25. The highest graded examples may sell for more. Full steps designation. If your 1989 D nickel has full steps and is graded MS65 or higher, it could be worth $20, $40, or even more depending on demand and condition. Error coins. These vary widely. A minor die crack might bring in $10, while a dramatic off-center strike could reach $50 or higher. Keep in mind that market prices fluctuate, and a coin's final value is often determined by what someone is willing to pay for it at the time of sale. In summary, the 1989 D Jefferson nickel may not appear extraordinary at first glance, but it still holds potential value for collectors. Whether you're looking through old change, organizing a coin collection, or passing along your collection to the next generation, it's worth taking a moment to examine each coin closely. Check for sharp details, look for the full steps on Monticello, and watch out for any unusual features that might indicate an error. While most of these nickels are worth just 5 cents, the right combination of condition and rarity could make one worth much more. We'll be taking a close and thoughtful look at the 1989 Jefferson nickel, specifically the version minted in Philadelphia, which carries the P mint mark. Many people overlook this 5-cent coin because it's relatively modern, but some examples can actually be worth more than face value. Whether you're a coin collector, someone who enjoys history, or you've simply come across one of these nickels in your change, this video will guide you through everything you need to know. The Jefferson nickel has been a part of American coinage since 1938. It replaced the Buffalo nickel and features the third President of the United States, Thomas Jefferson, on the front of the coin. The reverse side, for many years, displayed Jefferson's home, Monticello, in Virginia. By 1989, the Jefferson nickel had been in circulation for over 50 years. That year, over 1.1 billion nickels were struck at the Philadelphia Mint. These coins are fairly common, but as with most modern coins, certain examples can become valuable due to minting errors, condition, and overall rarity in high grade. In 1980, the Philadelphia Mint began using a P mint mark on nickels, which appears to the right of Jefferson's ponytail. So, if you have a 1989 nickel with the P mark, you know it was produced in Philadelphia. Now let's talk about what to look for in your 1989 Jefferson nickel that could make it valuable to collectors. Some 1989 P nickels may have been struck with errors that make them highly collectible. Common types of errors include off-center strikes. If the coin was not properly aligned during minting, part of the design might be missing. The more dramatic the off-center strike, the more valuable the coin. Double die obverse, DDO. This error occurs when the die used to strike the coin has a doubled image. Look closely at the lettering, especially the word Liberty and the date. If you notice a shadow or doubling effect, you might have a DDO. A cud is a raised area on the coin where a piece of the die has broken off. These are relatively rare and can add value depending on the size and location. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with higher numbers representing better preservation. A coin graded MS 65 or higher, MS stands for mint state, is uncirculated and shows no signs of wear under magnification. Most 1989 nickels found in everyday change are circulated, meaning they've picked up scratches, nicks, and general wear. If you have a coin that looks especially sharp, with clean details and strong luster, it might be worth having it graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC. Collectors often look for something called full steps on Jefferson nickels. On the reverse side, at the base of Monticello, there are a series of steps. If all the steps are clearly visible without breaks or wear, the coin may qualify for a full steps designation, which significantly increases its value, especially in high grade. Now, let's talk about the value of the 1989 P Jefferson nickel today. For most circulated coins, the value is generally 5 cents, just like its face value. However, if you find one in uncirculated condition, it may be worth more to a collector. In mint state 60 to 63, the coin might sell for around 25 cents to $1.00. In mint state 65, values can go up to $5 or more, especially if the coin has strong luster and appeal. A mint state 67 example with full steps can sell for $50 to $100, and in some rare cases, even higher depending on the market. Error coins, depending on the type and severity, can range in value from a few dollars to several $100. So while most 1989 P nickels won't make you rich, the right coin in the right condition can be a nice find. To sum things up, the 1989 Jefferson nickel from the Philadelphia Mint is a common coin, but it still holds interest for collectors due to potential errors and condition-based rarity. If you come across one in your change, take a few minutes to examine it carefully. Look for signs of mint errors, inspect the condition, and pay attention to the steps on Monticello. You might be surprised at what you find. 1990 Jefferson nickel with the D mint mark. If you've ever come across this coin in your pocket change or coin collection, you might be wondering whether it holds any real value. Is it worth keeping? Can it fetch a premium in today's market? We'll explore all of that in this video. We'll begin with a bit of history behind the Jefferson nickel, learn how to identify valuable versions of the 1990 D coin, go over the current value ranges, and finish with a few helpful tips for collectors, especially those who are just getting started or looking to sort through their old coins. So sit back, relax, and let's explore the story of this 5-cent piece. The Jefferson nickel was first introduced in 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel which had been in circulation for 25 years. Designed by artist Felix Schlag, the Jefferson nickel featured a portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the front and his home, Monticello, on the back. The coin was part of a broader effort to modernize U.S. coinage while honoring important figures in American history. Over the decades, the design remained largely unchanged, with only minor adjustments until 2004, when a new series was briefly introduced to commemorate the bicentennial of the Lewis and Clark expedition. The 1990 Jefferson nickel continued the traditional design. The obverse featured Jefferson's left-facing portrait, while the reverse showed Monticello. It was struck in large numbers at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints. The coin we are focusing on today is the one struck in Denver, which carries a small D mint mark on the front of the coin, just to the right of Jefferson's ponytail. How to identify valuable versions of the 1990 D Jefferson nickel. Now let's talk about what makes certain 1990 D nickels more valuable than others. Most circulated examples of this coin are worth face value, just 5 cents. However, there are a few factors that can increase the value significantly. Coins that have never been in circulation and show no signs of wear are considered to be in mint state condition. These coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with higher grades being more desirable. A 1990 D Jefferson nickel in MS 65 or higher condition can sell for more than just face value. Look for sharp details in Jefferson's hair, clean surfaces, and a bright, original luster. Full steps designation. One of the most important things to look for on a Jefferson nickel is what's known as the full steps designation. This refers to the steps leading up to Monticello on the reverse of the coin. If all 6 steps are clearly visible and uninterrupted, the coin may receive a full steps or FS designation from a grading service. This feature can greatly increase the coin's value, especially in high grades. Some 1990 D nickels have been found with mint errors. These can include off-center strikes, double dies, or planchet issues. Double die errors are especially interesting to collectors. While no major double die varieties are widely known for the 1990 D, minor examples and other striking errors can still command a premium. Even if a coin is not graded professionally, a well-struck 1990 D nickel with good luster and no major scratches or marks can still attract collectors, especially if it's part of a complete set. Let's now talk about what these coins are actually worth on the market today. Keep in mind that coin values can fluctuate slightly over time, depending on demand and the overall coin market. Circulated 1990 D nickels are generally only worth their face value of 5 cents. Uncirculated examples in mint state 60 to 63 condition typically sell for around 25 cents to 50 cents. High-grade mint state coins, especially those graded MS 65 or higher, can range from $2 to $10, depending on eye appeal and demand. MS 65 or MS 66 with full steps designation may bring $15 to $30 or more. Especially if the coin has exceptional surfaces and strike quality. Coins with rare mint errors, such as off-center strikes or double dies, can range from $20 to over $100, depending on the type and severity of the error. If you believe you have a high-grade or error coin, it may be worth sending it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC for authentication and grading. This can help maximize your coin's value if you plan to sell or display it as part of a collection. The 1990 D Jefferson nickel is a common coin that many of us have likely encountered without giving it much thought. While most examples are only worth their face value, there are exceptions. Coins in mint state condition, those with full steps, and coins with unusual mint errors can be worth far more than 5 cents. As with all coins, condition is key. If you're sorting through old change or inherited a coin collection, take a moment to examine each nickel closely. You might just find a hidden gem. Coin that may seem ordinary at first glance but has some fascinating details collectors should pay attention to. We're talking about the 2000 Jefferson nickel, specifically the one with the P mint mark from the Philadelphia Mint. whether you're a longtime collector or someone who's just beginning to sort through their change jar, understanding the value of coins like this can make a real difference. Let's explore the history, how to spot a valuable one, and what collectors are currently paying for these nickels. The Jefferson nickel has been in continuous production since 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel. It features a portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States, on the obverse side. The reverse shows his famous Virginia home, Monticello. The year 2000, the design of the Jefferson nickel had remained largely unchanged for over 60 years. That makes the 2000 issue one of the final years before the U.S. Mint introduced a modern redesign in 2004. So, although the 2000 Jefferson nickel may look like just another 5-cent piece, it actually comes from the end of an era in American coinage. The P Mint mark means this coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, one of the primary facilities of the United States Mint. That year, the Philadelphia Mint produced a large number of these coins, so most are common. However, not all are created equal, and some can be worth more than face value. If you have a 2000 Jefferson nickel with the P Mint mark, here's what to look for if you're hoping to find one that might be more valuable. Coins in uncirculated or near perfect condition are always worth more. If your nickel shows no signs of wear and still has its original luster, it could fall into the mint state category. Coins are graded on a 70-point scale, with MS-60 being the starting point for uncirculated coins and MS-70 being perfect. A coin in MS-65 or higher is typically sought after by collectors. One of the most important features for Jefferson nickel collectors is what's called the full steps designation. On the reverse side of the coin, look at the steps in front of Monticello. If the steps are sharply defined and show at least 5 clear, unbroken lines, your coin might receive a full steps grade. These coins are much harder to find and are usually worth significantly more. Some 2000 Jefferson nickels have been found with minting errors. These could include off-center strikes, double dies, or other unusual features. For example, a double die might show doubling in the lettering or numbers, especially around the words, "In God We Trust," or the date. These kinds of errors can make the coin more valuable to collectors who specialize in variety coins. Even among coins of the same grade, some have a more attractive appearance due to original mint luster or toning. Collectors may be willing to pay more for a coin that looks particularly nice, especially if it hasn't been cleaned or damaged. Most circulated 2000 Jefferson nickels with the P Mint mark are still worth their face value of 5 cents. However, if the coin is in excellent condition, the value can increase quite a bit. A regular circulated coin is typically worth 5 to 10 cents. In uncirculated condition without full steps, the coin might be worth 25 cents to $1 depending on the grade. With the full steps designation, values can rise significantly. A 2000 P nickel graded MS-66 with full steps might be worth $10 to $20. At higher grades, such as MS-67 or MS-68 with full steps, auction prices have reached $50 to $100 or more, depending on demand. It's worth noting that certified coins graded by reputable services like PCGS or NGC often command higher prices, especially at the top end of the grading scale. So, is your 2000 Jefferson nickel with the P Mint mark worth more than face value? The answer depends on its condition, whether it shows full steps, and if there are any unusual minting errors. For most people, it might just be another coin in your change jar, but for a collector, especially one looking for high-grade or error examples, it could be a small treasure. If you think you have a potentially valuable nickel, it may be worth having it graded or examined by a professional. As always, handle coins carefully, avoid cleaning them, and store them properly to preserve their value. Thank you for joining us today. If you found this video helpful or informative, feel free to check out our other videos where we cover valuable coins, collecting tips, and coin history. Until next time, keep an eye on your change and happy collecting.